You did not domesticate the dog, it is still happening to you. 15,000 years of sitting next to us at the fire. That was long enough to leave a mark on both species. Okay, that dog did not just say what I think it said. We call this a partnership. Biology calls it something stranger. Coevolution. Two species changing each other on purpose, not metaphor. Actual measurable changes in actual DNA. So let's start with the wolf that decided to stop running. Every dog alive descends from wolves that tolerated us first. Not the boldest wolves, the calmest ones. That distinction matters. That's how you make friends with a wolf. Offer meat first, ask questions later. That small act, repeated for thousands of years, built a new animal. Shorter snouts, floppier ears, smaller teeth, softer eyes. None of that was bred on purpose. It came bundled in. There is a famous experiment that proves it with foxes, not dogs. Dmitry Belyaev bred silver foxes for one trait only, calmness. Within a few generations, the foxes grew floppy ears anyway. Tameness and cute puppy features come from the same genetic switchboard. So the wolves that stuck around us were rewired at the root. That rewiring is the whole reason dogs exist. Now, to the human side. Because while we were changing them, they were changing us back. Start with something you do every time you look your dog in the eye. That eye contact triggers a hormone loop found nowhere else between species. The hormone is oxytocin, the same one bonding a mother to her infant. A Japanese study in 2015 measured this directly, in blood. Owners and dogs who gazed at each other longer had higher oxytocin, both of them. Wolves raised by hand do not do this, only dogs. Every plan for the day disappears the instant that dog makes eye contact. This loop did not exist before dogs. Wolves never evolved to look at us this way. Somewhere in domestication, dogs evolved a stare built specifically for us. Researchers call it puppy dog eyes. It is a literal muscle wolves lack. It appeared because we kept feeding the dogs who could make that face. We selected for a face that hijacks our own parenting instincts. Your oxytocin system did not know the difference. It still doesn't. Resisting that pleading stare lasts about half a second, tops. This is not a cute story. It is a species reshaping your hormones on contact. And the changes go a lot deeper than a hormone spike at the dog park. Let's talk about the gene that lets you digest a potato. It is called AMY2B. It breaks down starch. And dogs have extra copies too. Wild wolves have almost none of these copies. Farm dogs have many. Because once we started farming, dogs started eating our leftover grain. Dogs that could digest starch survived better. Their genome shifted to match our diet. Here is the part that should stop you. Humans did the exact same thing. Human populations that farmed grain also carry extra copies of their own amylase gene. Two separate species, evolving the same solution to the same new diet, together. That is not coincidence. That is parallel evolution driven by shared environment. Your dog's stomach is a record of your ancestors switching to farming. Turns out, bread works on a dog exactly the way you'd expect, biologically. 10,000 years ago, that piece of bread would have made a wolf sick. Two species, one shared adaptation running on completely separate DNA. This is what scientists mean when they say dogs co-evolved with us, not tamed once and left alone, actively, continuously shaping each other. And the loop does not stop at digestion, it reaches your immune system. Children raised with a dog in the house get fewer allergies. This is measured repeatedly. A large Swedish study tracked over 1 million children on exactly this. Kids near farm dogs and rural dogs had lower rates of asthma. The theory is called the hygiene hypothesis, and dogs are the delivery system. A dog drags in outdoor bacteria your immune system needs to practice against. Without that exposure, your immune system gets bored and it turns on you instead. Somehow this apartment is spotless, dog-free, and still triggering a full-blown sneezing fit. Then he steps into a house with a dog and the sneezing stops. That is not a coincidence either. Dogs are shifting the bacteria you carry. Studies of house dust in homes with dogs find a totally different microbe mix. That mix ends up in infant guts, and it changes how their immune system learns. So, a dog in the house is quietly training a human immune system before it can talk. This did not require you to know any of this was happening. Evolution does not ask permission. It just keeps score across generations. Now here is where it gets genuinely strange. Dogs may have changed our brains. Some researchers argue dogs did our guarding and hunting work for us. That freed up human brainpower and time for other things. This is called the self-domestication hypothesis, and it is still debated. But the timing lines up. Human brains got smaller right as dogs appeared. Smaller does not mean worse. It can mean outsourcing certain jobs entirely. Not a single hint of danger detected. Modern alleys just don't smell like they used to. We stopped needing our own nose for danger. We had rented one. A dog's sense of smell outperforms yours by a factor of thousands. So, for millennia, human survival quietly depended on borrowed dog senses. That reliance is not gone. It just moved indoors onto your couch. Now, let's talk about the genes that made this partnership possible at all. In 2010, researchers found genes tied to social behavior in both species. One of them is WBSCR17. In humans, a rare version causes hyperfriendliness. It is linked to Williams syndrome, a condition marked by extreme sociability. The same gene region, altered a similar way, shows up in the friendliest dogs. Dogs bred for tameness carry mutations in a gene tied to human sociability disorders. In other words, dogs may be genetically, extremely and permanently friendly on purpose, and the same genetic switch in you would make you unusually friendly too. Here's a fact that isn't written down anywhere. It just has to land directly on you. We did not just pick friendly wolves. We may share the actual mutation with them. That is not selection anymore. That is convergent biology across two species. So why would this happen? Why would two species drift toward the same trait? Because friendliness was the entry fee for living near a fire that wasn't yours. And tolerating a wolf near your fire meant something in you had to soften too. Both species were, quietly, selecting each other for the capacity to trust. That is an extraordinary thing for two predators to do to each other. Most predator pairs compete, avoid, or eat one another. We did neither. We built the only known case of two apex predators domesticating each other. That dog just earned a serious upgrade in status, colleague-level respect, effective immediately. And this cooperation left fingerprints in genomes on every continent dogs reached. Every population of humans that kept dogs shows some trace of this in their DNA. So the question is not whether dogs changed you, it is by how much still. Take the gene that lets adults digest milk. That is not about dogs, that is cattle. But the dog was the animal that made herding cattle possible in the first place. No dog, no herd. No herd, no milk. No milk, no gene for digesting it. One species rearranged the chain of events that ends in your gut enzymes. That is the pattern. Dogs rarely touch your body directly. They touch your world. And your world, over enough generations, presses evolution into a new shape. Here is one most people never expect. Dogs may have shortened human faces. Once dogs did the tracking and the killing, we needed less bite force ourselves. Softer, pre-processed food and smaller jaws walk together across the human family tree. That jaw doesn't look convincing in this mirror, no matter the angle. It is not proven, it is argued. Real scientists still fight about this one. But the fact that it is even arguable tells you something about the scale. A dog might have loosened the pressure that shaped the bones of your face. Now, consider the smell you are giving off right now, reading this sentence. Dogs read human sweat and breath better than most humans read each other. Some can smell a spike in blood sugar, a seizure coming, a tumor growing. That is not magic. That is 15,000 years of selection for reading you. We bred an animal whose entire nervous system is tuned to human signals. And a nervous system tuned that closely does not stay a one-way arrangement for long. Which brings us to the strangest study in this whole field: eye contact. In 2015, researchers measured oxytocin in owners and dogs staring at each other. Both species' oxytocin rose, the same loop that bonds a mother to her infant. No other animal on Earth hijacks that circuit with us. Only the dog does. Once you know this about dogs, eye contact with them never feels the same again. We built a machine for triggering our own parental bonding chemistry on purpose. Except we did not do it on purpose. We did it by accident, across millennia. Every generation just picked the dog that made them feel something. That was it. Feeling something, it turns out, was the entire selection pressure. No plan required. Compare that to now, a laptop screen and a swipe deciding who we bond with. Same circuitry the dog found first, we just gave it new triggers to fire on. So what does 15,000 years of this actually add up to in one animal? A shorter human jaw, a gut tuned to grains, a brain wired for a stare. None of that was written into us by choice. All of it arrived through a dog. And this did not stop when the last ice sheet melted. It is still running. There are more pet dogs alive today than at any point in the species' history. More exposure to dog microbes, dog behavior, dog eye contact than any prior generation. If the past 15,000 years changed us, the pressure has not eased off. It has arguably gotten heavier. More households have a dog now than a child. In some countries, that is now a fact, not an exaggeration for effect. Which means the animal that shaped your ancestor's genome is still shaping the next one. There is no version of modern human biology you can fully explain without this animal. Not your face shape, not your gut, not the chemical loop behind your closest bonds. You did not domesticate the wolf so much as the two of you domesticated each other. That is not a sentimental line, it is the working theory among the actual researchers. Coevolution does not need intention. It just needs two species stuck together long enough. Long enough turned out to be the entire span of recorded human civilization. All of it. Every pyramid, every war, every wedding, a dog was somewhere nearby the whole time. Not as decoration, as a working part of the machine that made you who you are. No words needed here, just one nod, and the deal between man and dog is sealed. No club needed anymore. That is the whole point of the last 15,000 years. We traded raw survival for a partnership, and the partnership rewrote the survivor. So, next time your dog stares at you, understand what is actually happening in your blood. It is not just affection. It is an ancient chemical handshake, still being renewed. Your jaw, your gut flora, your bonding chemistry all carry the same signature, a paw print. You are not just an animal who tamed a wolf. You are an animal a wolf helped make. That is not a smaller story than the one where you invented the dog. It is bigger. It means your species has never once existed on this planet completely on its own. There has always been a second animal in the frame, quietly editing the first one. 15,000 years in, the editing is not finished. You are still a draft. The next chapter of your genome is being written right now on the living room floor. So the real question is, who is actually training whom here? Somewhere out there, right now, a puppy is choosing its favorite human. Take that seriously. That small choice is the same mechanism that shaped the animal reading this sentence. So the real question was never whether dogs changed us. It is where this ends. If you have a theory or a dog, tell us below. We will read everyone.